All right, so this lesson is on predicates, and this is the first part of a series on sentence parts. So we're done with part of speech, which is a way of understanding how words relate to other words. And this can be difficult because sometimes part of speech is inherent in the word. For example, are can only be a verb, but sometimes it depends on how the word relates to other words. For example, look can be a noun or a verb, right? I can look at a painting, or I can get some new clothes to improve my look. And so the part of speech for the word depends on what it's doing. Right? Sentence parts refers to the ways that words relate to the meanings of their sentences. And so this will be a good way to review and strengthen your understanding of part of speech, because as you look at how the word functions within the sentence, you also see how it relates to other words. And so it's all going to start to come together. Sometimes we have to go through a little bit more grammar before it finally starts to stick. And so that's what I hope is going to happen here. All right, but so predicates are always verbs. So if you didn't do the lessons on verbs, go back and at least watch them. Maybe don't take Cornell notes. But if you didn't do those when I assigned them to you at the beginning of the year, you need to go back and review them. All right, so let's look at the definition of predicates. So the predicate is the most important element in a sentence. I realize that's a claim. It's my opinion, right? And it is the main verb in the sentence. And it shows the action or state of being that is at the core of the meaning of the sentence. You want to pay attention to this right here, state of being. A lot of times students come to me and they think verbs are only action words. They can also be state of being. For example, a form of the verb to be, or a linking verb. Those are states of being. Those are not actions. Right? Because without an action or a state of being, there is no reason to speak or write. And that's why I claim that predicates are the most important parts of sentences. And so yeah, predicates can be to be, linking, transitive, or intransitive verbs. And if you don't know what those are, make sure you go back and review them. All right, so let's look at some examples here. I am at the park, right? Am is the predicate. It's a form of the verb to be. Or I grew weary of the play. In this case, it's a linking verb. Still reflects a state of being. So grew in this case is not an action. It's a state of being. It's a change in state of being is what it is. Or I look tired. Predicate is a linking verb there again. Or I threw the ball, right? So this is a transitive verb, and it has a direct object. And we're going to look at direct objects in an upcoming part of this series. So if you're still a bit unclear about what direct objects are, that lesson is coming. Or I bought my sister a sweater, right? I bought a sweater for my sister. And again, we're going to look at indirect objects in an upcoming lesson as well. Or I ran to the park. Here, to the park is a prepositional phrase, right? The preposition, object of the preposition. I could just say I ran. So let's look at some more examples here, right? TBHS is a great school. So is the predicate. It's a form of the verb to be. I like to eat cold pizza after swim practice. Like is the predicate there. It's a transitive verb. She gave him a pink sweater to wear at Tolo. Gave, sweater, right? So this is a transitive verb. Sweater is the direct object. She's trying to embarrass him. This one's tough, right? Because it's a contraction. So it's a form of the verb to be. It's a predicate there. Right? If you mess with the bull, you get the horns. Notice how this sentence starts with a subordinating conjunction. So we have a dependent clause here. So the predicate is actually over here. Here's the predicate. And it's a transitive verb because the horns are what you get. Did you eat all of my French fries? Right. Here's our predicate. It's also a transitive verb. No, in this case, is an intransitive verb. Okay. And so that's it, lesson completed. We'll look more at subjects and predicates, or I'm sorry, predicates. We'll look more at predicates in some of our lessons on diagramming sentences. So I know I went pretty quickly there, But, just remember, main verb, whether it's a form of the verb to be, a linking verb, or a transitive or intransitive verb, whatever the main verb in the sentence is, that's your predicate. Thanks.